Monica and David, a wealthy African-American couple in their mid-40s, live a stable life but long for children. After years of trying, medical tests reveal the heartbreaking truth. The issue lies with Monica. Determined to give her husband a chance to be a father, she proposes an unconventional plan. Find a woman willing to have David's child, whom they will later adopt and generously compensate. Monica personally seeks out Serena, a woman who agrees to carry the baby for $500,000 under strict terms. But as the due date approaches, tension builds. On a rainy night after the twins' birth, Serena disappears from the hospital with both babies, leaving Monica shocked, alone, and desperate. What happens next? Please rate this story from 1 to 10 at the end, and tell me from where you're watching. Monica's heels clicked against the marble floor of the foyer as she stepped inside their Atlanta home. The evening sun spilled through the tall windows, painting everything gold, but to her it felt hollow. Her eyes instinctively wandered toward the second floor, toward the room they had painted pale yellow 6 years ago, the nursery that never held a baby. Her husband, David, was in his study, still in his tailored navy suit, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened. He smiled when he saw her, that same easy smile that had charmed her when they first met at a charity gala 15 years ago. But lately, behind his smile, she saw it, that flicker of sadness. "How was the appointment?" he asked gently, closing the ledger he was reviewing. Monica exhaled, pressing her purse to her side like it could anchor her. "The same. Tests, more tests. They want to run one more round before giving us the final word." Her voice cracked at the word final. David walked over, taking her hands in his. "We've been through worse," he said softly, but his eyes darted away. Not because he didn't care, but because hope had been fading for both of them. They had tried everything: IVF, hormone treatments, specialized diets, acupuncture. They'd flown to clinics in California, even to one in Germany. Each time, Monica had walked away with the same crushing emptiness. That night, lying beside David in their California king bed, she stared at the ceiling, her mind restless. She thought about the times she'd imagined him holding their baby, the gentle way he'd cradle them, his deep laugh filling the room. She wanted that for him, even if she couldn't be the one to give it. 2 weeks later, the doctor gave them the truth they had dreaded but suspected. "Monica, the problem is with your eggs. Even with a donor, chances are low. Your body may not carry a pregnancy safely." She sat frozen in the sterile office chair, her manicured fingers gripping the armrests. David's hand was on her back, rubbing slow circles, but she could feel his silent heartbreak. On the drive home, neither of them spoke. That night, Monica poured herself a glass of wine and stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city lights. David came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Don't be. This isn't your fault," he murmured against her hair. But she could feel the weight in his voice. And that's when the thought entered her mind, reckless, unthinkable, but persistent. Over the next week, she couldn't shake it. She imagined what it would be like if David had a child that carried his bloodline, a child they could raise together. She hated the idea. She hated herself for even thinking it. But love is a strange thing. Sometimes it drives you towards sacrifice that borders on self-destruction. One night, she finally said it out loud. "David, what if we had someone else carry your child? Someone who could give us a baby?" He turned to her, brows furrowed. "You mean surrogacy?" She shook her head slowly. "Not exactly. I mean naturally. No clinics, no labs. Just someone who could make it happen." David stepped back, his jaw tightening. "Monica, what are you saying?" "I'm saying I love you enough to let you have what I can't give you," she said, tears blurring her vision. "We could find someone we could take care of her financially. And when the baby comes, she walks away and we raise them. Together." David stared at her, disbelief warring with something else, something dangerously close to hope. "That's not how people do this," he said. "No," Monica admitted, "but we're not people. We're us. We can make our own rules." The first time Monica said it out loud to herself, she almost laughed, Not because it was funny, but because it felt insane. Find a woman for your husband. She could already imagine the whispers if anyone in their social circle found out. Atlanta's elite loved their gossip, and Monica and David had always been the picture-perfect power couple. Still, she began making discreet calls, starting with people she trusted, the kind of friends who had connections in unusual places. Not all of them were understanding. "Girl, you've lost your damn mind," her college friend Marlene had said over the phone. "You're gonna pay another woman to sleep with your man? And you think she's just gonna walk away?" Monica sighed. "It's not about that. It's about the baby. Baby or not, you're opening the door to trouble." But Monica wasn't asking for permission. She was asking for a lead. 2 weeks later, one came. Her friend, Tasha, who ran an upscale event planning business, called her. "I might know someone. She's not conventional. She's 32, single, needs money bad. But she's healthy, no kids yet. She's pretty, like real pretty." Monica hesitated. "Pretty?" Tasha laughed. "Don't act like you don't know your man's type." They met at a quiet lounge on a Wednesday afternoon. The woman's name was Serena, and the moment Monica saw her, she understood Tasha's tone. Serena had smooth mocha skin, almond-shaped eyes, and a way of looking at you like she already knew what you were thinking. She wore a simple cream blouse and jeans, but she made them look like a designer outfit. "I know why I'm here," Serena said, after they'd ordered coffee. "Tasha told me the basics. I just want to be clear, this isn't something I'd normally consider." Monica leaned in slightly. "Neither would I. But life doesn't exactly care about what's normal, does it?" They talked for over an hour. Monica laid out the terms. Serena would receive $500,000 in installments. She would live in a guest house on their property during the process. She would follow strict medical supervision and lifestyle rules. Once the baby was born, full custody would go to Monica and David. Serena listened without interrupting, her fingers tapping lightly on her coffee cup. "And what about him?" Serena finally asked. Monica swallowed. "David? He's willing. But this isn't his idea. He doesn't even want to meet you unless you're sure." Serena's lips curved slightly. "And you're sure you're okay with this?" Monica's throat tightened. "I don't think anyone's ever really okay with this. But I'm willing. And that's enough." The first time Serena met David was in their living room. Monica had made sure to be present to control the dynamic. David was polite, reserved, clearly uncomfortable. Serena, on the other hand, seemed almost amused by the awkwardness. "So," Serena said casually, "do we set a schedule, or is this more of a natural flow type of thing?" David's ears went pink. I think we'll just take the doctor's advice on timing." Monica's stomach twisted, hearing them talk about it like a business plan. But that's what it was now, a contract written in both ink and flesh. Over the next month, Serena moved into the guest house. Monica set boundaries. Meals together only twice a week, no late-night visits without notice, and absolutely no emotional entanglement. At least that was the plan. But plans have a way of unraveling. Monica began noticing little things. The way Serena laughed more around David, the way David lingered in conversation with her in the garden, the way they shared small smiles when they thought she wasn't looking. It was subtle, harmless looking. But Monica knew better. Because the real danger wasn't that Serena might not bond with David. The real danger was that she might. It started small. Monica would pass the guest house on her morning walk and hear laughter. Not just laughter, David's laugh. The deep, genuine one she hadn't heard in months, maybe years. She told herself it was good, that it meant he was comfortable, that the process was working. But there was a weight in her chest she couldn't shake. One Saturday afternoon, Monica returned early from a charity luncheon. She found David and Serena in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, covered in flour, making homemade pasta. Serena had a streak of dough across her cheek, and David reached out to wipe it away without thinking. The way their eyes met afterward, a moment too quick to capture, but too sharp to miss, made Monica's stomach knot. The doctor's visits became part of the routine. Monica insisted on going with them at first, but work obligations meant she missed one, then another. Serena would come back from appointments with little notes from the doctor, relaying details about cycle dates and optimal timing, like she was discussing weather patterns. It wasn't until one evening, over dinner, that Monica realized Serena and David had developed an inside rhythm. Serena made a comment about the way David never remembered to bring an umbrella, and David shot her a mock glare, the kind you give someone you know well. Monica forced a laugh, but inside she was screaming. One night, Monica found herself standing outside the guest house at nearly midnight. She hadn't meant to, she'd just gone out for air. But then she saw the soft glow of light through the curtains and heard their voices. Not intimate, not yet, but close, too close. She told herself she trusted David. And she did. But trust wasn't the problem. Desire was. Desire changes people. The first time it actually happened, the process, Monica wasn't there. She couldn't be. She'd left the house, gone for a drive that turned into 3 hours of aimless wandering. When she came back, the house was silent. Serena's door was shut. David was in the study, staring at the floor. Neither of them mentioned it, and neither did Monica. But something in the air had shifted. Over the next month, the doctor confirmed the news. Serena was pregnant. The moment Monica heard the words, her knees almost gave out. It was working. Her dream, their dream, was finally within reach. She hugged Serena, genuinely grateful. But part of her also felt the ache of knowing this milestone had come from a place she wasn't part of. David, on the other hand, looked different. His eyes lit up in a way Monica hadn't seen in years. And when he looked at Serena, it wasn't just gratitude. It was connection. At first, Monica told herself she could handle it. She busied herself with planning, nursery furniture, baby names, scheduling prenatal care. But then came the little moments she couldn't unsee. David placing his hand protectively on Serena's back when they crossed the street. Serena bringing him coffee, just the way he liked it. Their laughter in the garden when they thought no one was around. The lines she'd drawn in her mind between business and personal, between her marriage and this arrangement, were starting to blur. And once lines blur, they rarely sharpen again. The night it hit her hardest was during their annual autumn dinner party. Monica had gone upstairs to change her shoes and came back down to see David and Serena in the corner of the living room. Serena had her hand on his arm, leaning in close as he said something that made her laugh, her head tilting back just enough for him to watch her in that slow, quiet way. It wasn't inappropriate. It wasn't even obvious. But Monica recognized it instantly because it was the way he used to look at her. It was raining the night David didn't come home. Monica remembered the way the rain streaked against the kitchen windows, the smell of the roast she'd made, the table set for 3. Serena had been upstairs resting. The pregnancy had reached that stage where fatigue hit like a tidal wave. Monica had poured herself a glass of wine, expecting David to walk through the door any moment. Instead, it was the phone that rang. A man's voice. "Come, too calm. Mrs. Walker? This is Officer Daniels. There's been an accident." The hospital smelled of antiseptic and something metallic. Monica barely remembered signing the forms or the words the doctor used. Collision, impact, instant. All she knew was that David was gone before she even got there. She stood frozen in the hallway, her hands gripping the back of a chair like she could hold herself up by force. Serena was at her side, barefoot, her hair uncombed, eyes wide and glassy. When the reality sank in, Monica didn't cry. Not yet. Her body wouldn't let her. Instead, she felt empty, like someone had scooped her out and left only the shell. The days after the funeral blurred together. Neighbors brought casseroles. The church sent flowers. Lawyers came with folders of paperwork Monica couldn't focus on. Through it all, Serena stayed mostly in her room. Monica told herself it was grief, but one night she heard soft sobs coming from the guest house, not the muffled, private kind, but raw, keening sounds. She almost went in. Almost. But something stopped her. The thought that Serena's grief might not be the same as hers. It might be deeper in some ways, and that was a truth Monica didn't want to face. 2 weeks later, they had a routine prenatal appointment. The doctor dimmed the lights, gelled Serena's belly, and pressed the ultrasound wand against her skin. The grainy black and white image flickered to life. Monica leaned in. Serena's hand tightened around hers. Then the doctor smiled. "Well, looks like we've got two heartbeats here." Monica's head snapped toward the screen. Two tiny pulses, two separate rhythms. "Twins," the doctor confirmed. Serena laughed, a choked, tear-filled laugh, while Monica just stared. "Twins. Double the dream. Double the legacy." For the first time since the funeral, Monica felt something like hope. But it wasn't pure. No, it was tangled, hope for the children. Yes, but also for what they represented now. Without David, these babies were the last link to him and the only heirs to his estate. That night, they sat at the kitchen table, the rain tapping against the windows again. Serena sipped herbal tea. "They'll be his. Completely. You know that, right?" Monica swallowed. "They'll be ours. I promised you $500,000, and you promised." "I know what I promised," Serena interrupted softly, her eyes fixed on the steam rising from her cup. "I'm just saying things feel different now." Monica's stomach tightened. "Different how?" Serena looked up, and there was something in her gaze Monica couldn't read. Just different. The weeks that followed were a strange mix of preparation and unspoken tension. Monica threw herself into planning for the twins, buying 2 cribs, matching clothes, even arranging for a nursery decorator. Serena complied with every medical appointment, every diet restriction. But there was a quiet shift in her, a subtle distance that Monica noticed late at night when the house was silent. By the 7th month, Serena moved slower, her hands constantly resting on her belly. She began referring to the twins as my babies instead of the babies. Monica told herself it was just maternal instinct, natural for a pregnant woman, but the phrasing gnawed at her. One afternoon, Monica found Serena in the nursery, sitting in the rocking chair, humming softly. The sunlight poured over her as she rubbed slow circles over her stomach. "What are you singing?" Monica asked gently. "Something my mama used to hum to me." Serena replied without looking up. "It's grounding." Monica forced a smile. "They'll hear plenty of music once they're here." "Yeah," Serena said, finally glancing up. "But they'll always remember the first voice they knew." The words landed heavier than Monica expected. That week, Monica began noticing Serena's quiet acts of possession. She switched from saying "we're due in March" to "I'm due in March." She started keeping her prenatal ultrasound pictures in her own bedroom instead of the shared family folder. She declined an invitation to attend Monica's church baby blessing, saying it felt too public. Monica tried to brush it off, but every change felt like a stone added to the weight in her chest. One evening, over dinner, Monica tested the waters. "You know the legal paperwork will be ready before the birth," she said casually, "just to make sure custody transitions smoothly." Serena didn't look up from her plate. "Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that." Monica's fork froze midair. "About what?" Serena finally met her gaze, her expression unreadable. Sometimes life shifts. You think you know how you'll feel about something, and then you don't. I'm not saying anything's changed. Yet, I'm just being honest. It was an odd conversation. One that didn't end in a fight, but didn't leave Monica reassured either. The next day, Monica went through David's old files. Not for legal reasons. She'd already handled the estate. No, she was looking for grounding, for proof that this family she'd envisioned was still possible. Instead, she found a photo tucked in a folder marked personal. It was a candid shot, David in the garden, laughing, Serena leaning toward him, hand on her belly, both of them oblivious to the camera. Monica's breath caught. She didn't remember taking it. She didn't even know who had. She placed it back in the folder, but the image burned in her mind. As the due date approached, the house grew tense. Serena became more private, sometimes locking her door. Monica hired a nurse to help after the birth, but Serena objected. "They won't need a stranger," Serena said. "They'll have me." Monica's patience thinned. "They'll have me. You agreed." "I agreed before he died," Serena snapped, her voice sharper than ever. "Things are different now." That night, Monica lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the rain pattering softly outside. Somewhere in the house, Serena moved, faint footsteps, a door closing. Monica thought about following, but she didn't, because deep down she already knew. Something was shifting, and if she didn't tighten her grip soon, she might lose more than she'd bargained for. Labor came early, 3 weeks before the due date. It began with Serena standing at Monica's bedroom door in the middle of the night, her face pale, her breath quick. "It's time," she whispered. The drive to the hospital was a blur of wet roads and streaking headlights. Rain hammered the windshield. Serena clutched Monica's hand between contractions, and for a few fleeting hours, it felt like they were united again. Two women fighting for the same dream. The twins arrived in the early morning hours. Too perfect, wailing impossibly small miracles. One boy, one girl. Monica's tears finally came, spilling freely as she held them in her arms for the first time. She kissed their foreheads, whispering promises she meant with every fiber of her being. Serena watched from her bed, her expression unreadable. When the nurse placed the babies with her to nurse, she cradled them like glass, her lips brushing their crowns. "They know me," she murmured. "They've known me from the start." Monica ignored the sting of those words, telling herself it was the hormones, the exhaustion. By the second night, the rain returned. Heavy, relentless, the kind of storm that makes the world feel far away. Monica dozed in the chair by the window, the twins asleep in their bassinet beside her. At some point, she must have drifted deeper, because when she woke, the bassinet was empty. Her heart slammed against her ribs. "Serena." No answer. She checked the bathroom, empty, the bed cold. Then she noticed the hospital bag was gone. The blanket Serena had brought from home was missing too. Panic surged through her. She stumbled into the hallway, barefoot, calling Serena's name. A nurse appeared, startled, but when Monica demanded to know where Serena had gone, the woman only shook her head. "She left about 20 minutes ago. Said you knew." "I don't know." Monica's voice cracked, loud enough to draw stares. Outside, the rain was coming sideways, soaking the pavement, blurring the streetlights. Monica bolted through the sliding doors, scanning the parking lot. A dark sedan was already pulling away, taillights glowing faint through the curtain of rain. For one frozen moment, Monica thought she saw Serena's silhouette in the back seat, cradling 2 small bundles. She ran into the storm, screaming her name, but the car didn't stop. The sound of tires on wet asphalt swallowed her voice. By the time she collapsed back inside, drenched and trembling, the realization hit her like a second death. Serena was gone. The twins were gone. And the contract, the promises, the $500,000, none of it mattered now. All she could see in her mind was Serena's face that morning in the nursery, rocking her children, waiting for the rain. The hospital called the police within hours, but Monica quickly learned that the law doesn't work the way the heart wants it to. There was no signed adoption paperwork, only a verbal agreement and a financial transaction the court saw as complicated. Serena's name was on the birth certificates. Legally, they were hers. Morally, Monica couldn't accept that. For weeks, Monica barely slept. She scoured social media for any sign, a woman with newborn twins in a grocery store, a passing mention on a parenting forum. She called hospitals in neighboring towns, scanning patient records under false pretenses. She paid a private investigator, a wiry man named Clay, with a voice like gravel. He found their first trace in a small town 3 hours away. Serena had rented a cheap motel room for 2 nights, paying in cash. By the time Monica got there, the room was empty, the bed stripped. Months passed. The money she'd promised Serena was gone, tied up in a trust fund Serena had withdrawn the moment she disappeared. Monica sold her wedding ring to keep Clay on the case. Every time a lead surfaced, a used baby stroller sold online, a daycare enrollment form, it fizzled. Serena was careful, almost too careful, like she'd been planning this long before the birth. One night in late summer, Clay called. "I think I've got her." Monica's pulse spiked. "Where?" "Small coastal town, 2 states over." woman matching her description, twins about the right age. Locals say she's calling herself Anna. The next morning, Monica was on a plane. She found the house easily, white clapboard, peeling paint, a garden out front. Through the lace curtain, she saw them. Two babies in high chairs, Serena spooning mashed fruit into their mouths, humming that same tune Monica had once heard in the nursery. For a long moment, Monica just watched. The twins laughed, smeared food across their faces. Serena kissed their cheeks like she'd never let them go. She stepped forward, heart pounding, ready to knock, but her hand froze inches from the door. Because in that instant, Monica saw something she hadn't let herself see before. The babies didn't look for her. They didn't know her. And even if she took them back, they wouldn't remember the woman who had once planned their nursery in soft yellows and blues. She backed away, her footsteps silent on the gravel, the sound of laughter fading behind her. She didn't call Clay. She didn't call the police. For the first time in months, she didn't feel like she was chasing them anymore. She felt like she was finally letting them go. The coastal wind followed Monica all the way back to her city, as if trying to tug her backwards. But she didn't turn around. She walked into her quiet, echoing home, the same home where she and David had once dreamed of filling the rooms with laughter, and for the first time in months, she didn't feel that burning need to take. She felt the need to give. The next morning, she called her family lawyer, Mr. Bennett, a man who'd known her since she was a teenager. "I need you to draft some papers," she said. "What kind of papers?" he asked. "The kind that makes sure the twins are recognized as David's heirs. I don't care what it costs. They're his children. They deserve his name, his future." There was a pause. "Monica, are you sure about this? After everything?" "I'm sure," she said, her voice steady. "I've lost my husband. I'm not going to lose the only piece of him left in this world." 2 days later, she was standing on Serena's porch again, this time in the sunlight, without a storm to hide in. Serena opened the door slowly, her eyes wary, one hand instinctively resting on the baby girl's tiny back. "I'm not here to fight," Monica said quickly. Serena's grip on the door tightened. "Then why are you here?" Monica held out the manila envelope. "These are papers making the twins legal heirs to David's estate. Everything that was his will pass to them. No tricks, no lawyers chasing you. I just want to be part of their lives. And if you'll let me, I want you to come home with me. Both of you. All of you." Serena's face softened, but the suspicion didn't vanish entirely. "After everything I did, why? Because they're David's children. And because I don't want to spend the rest of my life in an empty house pretending that anger will keep me warm." Serena glanced over her shoulder at the twins who were playing on the floor. For the first time since Monica had known her, Serena's eyes filled with tears. A week later, the strange little family came back together. The twins' laughter finally filled the rooms Monica had once prepared for them. Serena stayed, not as a threat, not as a rival, but as the woman who had carried the children David would never meet. Some nights, Monica still stood in the nursery doorway, watching Serena rock them to sleep. And in those moments, she didn't feel loss or jealousy, only a quiet, unexpected gratitude that life had given her something to hold on to, even if it wasn't the way she'd imagined.